Hello, hello. That is coming along. Hello. How's that look? Okay. I was all set until my phone just went dead, and then I had to start all over. So, come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me. While everyone is coming in, I want to say thank you to Black Biz Scope, Pam, Adia, and Christine for this opportunity, getting all these black businesses out here and known in these on the internet streets. Is that how that goes? Thank you for joining me. I am going to make this quick. My name is Pamela Mitchell. I am a tax preparer. At this very moment, I am serving as a tax preparer. Focusing on individuals, helping individuals get their tax situations. Yeah, I left work. And I'm sorry, I left work. So I am setting out to help individuals get their tax situations set up, whether they are individuals, freelancers, independent contractors. Hey, Karen, thank you for joining me. I'm glad you're able to come in. Independent contractors get their tax situation set up so that in the event of a potential audit, they have their records straight to show proof of income and expenses, tax write-offs, and things like that. Thank you so much. So I am going to jump right in because I did not write out my intro, but I did write down what I wanted to talk about today. So this is back to school. I know a lot of people, my kids started back on Tuesday. Back to school for elementary and secondary school. So I wanted to give a few tax tips on back to school tax tips. And to jump right in on that, if you have any questions, just jump in because I know I'm jumping around. I literally just walked in the door from work before I jumped on Adia's Periscope. So back to school. I'm happy my kids are not at home. So back to school. Tax tips for back to school parents. Just a couple of things you may or may not know of. These are a few questions that most people do have when it comes to tax time. So I'm going to go through a few in the next 15 minutes. Number one, school uniforms are not tax deductible, even if they are a requirement for the school. Tax uniforms are not tax deductible. You cannot use that as a write-off on your tax return. Number two, private or parochial school tuition is also not deductible. With that, if your child is in private school, but they have after-school care as a part of it, the after-school care that you pay the additional cost for is tax deductible as long as they are under the age of 13. So that's for private school is not tax deductible, but after-school care is tax deductible as long as they are under the age of 13. Before and after school care is tax deductible. Most parents, if they have to be at work by 7 o'clock, but the bus doesn't run until 7:30, they can take their child to before school care. That is tax deductible because they are trying to maintain steady employment. And after school care, if they don't, if the parent doesn't get home until after 5, from the time the child gets off the bus to the time the parent picks up, as long as that child is under the age of 13, before and after school care is tax deductible. Number 5, school fundraisers are limited. We all have those school fundraisers. For my children, they have to raise money for uniforms every year. Those are limited, and it depends on the specific situation. But typically, if you are getting something in return, it may not be considered a tax write-off. So if they're selling candy bars, if you buy the if you buy a $1 candy bar for $2, you may only be able to write off that $1 instead of the full $2 because you are getting something in return for that fundraiser, for the money that you gave for that fundraiser. Okay, number 6, moving expenses for college are not deductible. My daughter is starting college. She's moving in on Saturday. Most people, I've seen somebody, and this was some years ago, they moved in a full-size refrigerator. They tried to move in a full-size refrigerator into their dorm room. If you rent out a U-Haul to move all of your things to college, that is not tax deductible. Thank you. So, it's only moving expenses are only deductible if it's for a job, and because college is not for a job, moving expenses for college are not deductible. Let's see. The rest of these are for college age students. Let's see. There are two credits, one deduction that you can use for higher education tax credits. You have the American Opportunity Credit. That is for the first 2 years of your college student's matriculation. So freshman and sophomore year, you are able to qualify for the American Opportunity Credit. And I believe the dollar limit on that, let me check to make sure, is $2,500. And there are certain parameters to that dollar amount, but that is the American Opportunity Credit that would lower your tax liability. The next one is the Lifetime Learning Credit. There is no limit on how long you can take that credit. For as long as you are in school, it is a tax credit that lowers your tax liability. And the maximum amount on that is $2,000 per qualified student. The next one is tuition and fees deduction. For the most part, the American Opportunity Credit and the Lifetime Learning Credit are for tuition and fees only. You can only write off tuition and fees. Tuition. Most people try to write off the room and board, the books that they had to purchase. My daughter's going to major in art. She is required to have an Apple computer, an Apple laptop that is running more than $3,000. That is a requirement. That is a tax write-off. It will fall under her tuition and fees. So with that, that's a deduction. I don't know how familiar you guys are with the actual tax form, but it's before your adjusted gross income. And your adjusted gross income, what do you mean? What about daycare? Daycare in and of itself is tax deductible as long as the child is under 13. Regardless of the age, as long as they're under 13, you are able to write off that the amount of money you pay for daycare before, after school. And so if your child is I think most daycares don't allow you to them to start attending until like 6 weeks or so. So from 6 weeks up to 13 years of age, it is a tax deduction. Now, if you actually qualify for it, it's something completely different. Thank you so much. If you qualify for it, it's something that's completely different. Just because it's available to you, you may not have reached that income limit or the income parameters or whatever it is that you have to write that off. Okay, and then let's see. Next one, I forgot to count, so I don't know where we are. But for student loan interest, if you have finished school, lawyer fees, for the most part, if it's not a requirement, it will not be a tax deduction. So if it's a lawyer fee, it would have to pertain probably to a divorce or child support. And even then, I think it would be limited. But I don't specialize. Most of the people that I come in contact with don't have lawyer questions. And so I'm very vague on that. So, okay. Let's see. 7, 8. Well, this is going to be the last one. I'm going to start wrapping up anyways. So student loan interest. If you are out of school, whether you graduated or not, you are still required to pay back your student loans. The amount of money that you pay back, the interest on that loan is tax deductible. There is a $2,500 limit on that. And then the other ones, let's see. Did I block the right person? Okay. So the other ones, they're mostly dealing with savings accounts, tax deferred accounts. Those, I would say, get you a financial advisor to help you out with setting those up. Mostly for the purposes of tax, the plans are not taxable. But in setting them up, I do not specialize in that. But it is it does help out with your particular tax situation, depending on the amount of income that you make. So I rushed through those. I am going to recap. School uniforms are not tax deductible. Private school is not tax deductible. After school and before school care and daycare are tax deductible. Credit cards. I missed that question. And you may need a credit advisor or a financial advisor on that. My area is tax prep specifically. Tax prep. So when it comes to credit cards and things like that, that's another branch of financial management that somebody else could help you with. So before and after school care are tax deductible. School fundraisers are limited. Moving expenses for college are not deductible. You have the American Opportunity Credit, the Lifetime Learning Credit, tuition and fees deduction. Those are your three options when it comes to the amount of tuition that you pay. You have to choose one or the other. You cannot use all of them. And each student that is enrolled in college, whether it's the parent, the spouse, the child, they all qualify for that. With the American Opportunity Credit, it's only for the first 2 years though. Freshman, sophomore year. But it's one or the other. You cannot do all three for one student. My website is www.pmmba.biz. And what I would like for you guys to do, if you could help me out, is like me or follow me on Facebook. I've started a Facebook group. I wanted a forum for people to ask their questions. Thank you. A forum for people to ask their questions instead of going to someone who doesn't necessarily specialize in it. And I have heard from other bookkeepers and tax preparers that they will have a client that will go ask a friend because they don't want to be charged by a bookkeeper for the hour consult. So this is a forum for you to ask your questions. Don't get too specific in your tax situation, but if you want to generalize your questions, I would be more than happy to ask those. An example would be if every year there's a rumor that tax refunds are going to be delayed. So if you want to put that out there, I can find that out for you and post that, and I could actually link it back to the website where I got that information from. And the IRS, they have put a disclaimer out there. If you don't talk to an individual, it may not be true. So for my Facebook group, it's facebook.com PMMBA13. I don't know if they're showing up right, but and that's my website, pmmba.biz. So that is my Facebook page where I keep I post updates on tax related things. And then there's also a link in that page to the Facebook group where you can ask questions. Can I write this off on my taxes? Something that most people this is not back to school related, but something that most people don't realize they can write off is sales tax. So if you have questions, I heard I could write this off. you're more than welcome to ask that question in this forum. Please like my Facebook page and join my Facebook group. The name of the group is the Tax Magnate. How much time do I have? Am I done? Is the next person live? Tax Magnate, that's the name of the group, the Tax Magnate, MATAXMAGNATE. Time not live yet. Oh, okay. Okay, so I will stay on until the next person is live. If you have any questions, please feel free. Danita put up my social media. Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. Again, thank you so much to Black Bioscope for this opportunity. It's back to school. Elementary, high school started this week for my kids. College, and college starts next week. So, move-in day for a lot of schools in Mississippi is Saturday, August 12th. Where I work at, my alma mater, and my daughter's school, they all have move-in day on August 12th. Saturday, August 12th. So, college students, you got tax, you'll need tax info on that also. And I would be happy to answer those questions. Let's see. Is there anything that I could cover? I'm just waiting until the next person pops up. Because I know I rushed through that. I am so sorry I rushed through that. Let's see. Slideshow. No questions. No questions. Okay. Was there anything that I did? She's live. Okay. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.